There comes a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when you realize you're no longer the person you used to be, not because something dramatic happened, not because life forced you into a corner, but because change has been happening inside you in small, persistent movements. The kind of movements that don't ask for permission. They simply reshape the inner landscape. Most people don't notice the exact moment their identity shifts. It's not a loud ending. It's a subtle unfolding. Like the slow opening of a door you didn't know you were leaning against. You wake up one day, and the things that once defined you no longer fit. Your reactions soften. Your priorities rearrange themselves. Your heart stops running toward what once felt urgent. Change rarely arrives as a declaration. It arrives as a whisper. But here's the truth most of us avoid. It takes courage to admit that transformation has happened. It takes courage to say, I'm not who I was. I don't want what I used to want. I can't keep carrying the expectations of a version of me that no longer exists. There is a strange grief in growth. A mourning for an earlier self. A self who tried, who fought, who endured. A self who did the best they could with the understanding they had. Letting go of that version of you is tender. It hurts in ways that don't have names. But the truth is even deeper. You outgrow who you were because you're supposed to. Life is movement. Identity is fluid. You were never meant to stay fixed inside an older chapter. Yet admitting this, out loud, to yourself, can feel like betrayal. As if changing means you were wrong before. As if evolution is a rejection of the past. But it isn't. It's the natural progression of awareness. Understanding more simply changes you. And refusing that change costs more than facing it. Maybe you've noticed small signs. The conversations that no longer energize you. The dreams that don't feel like yours anymore. The relationships where you feel yourself shrinking. Or the habits that quietly exhaust your spirit. You keep trying to fit the old shape, but it pinches, tightens, breaks your breath in half. There is a moment when pretending becomes heavier than honesty. Admitting you're not the same is not a confession of failure. It's an acknowledgement of growth. You've seen more. You've felt more. You've learned where your boundaries are. You've learned what drains you and what nourishes you. You've learned the difference between what you wanted because you were taught to want it and what you want because it feels like home inside your chest. This is maturity. Not the absence of mistakes, but the presence of awareness. But here's the part we rarely talk about. Sometimes we don't resist change because it is painful. We resist it because it asks us to become visible, to tell the truth, to set boundaries, to take responsibility for our needs, to choose ourselves where we used to choose acceptance, to walk away from what we outgrew. Even if walking away feels ungrateful, growth requires exposure, and exposure is uncomfortable. But comfort has never been a good measure of truth. Truth grows you. Comfort keeps you where you no longer belong. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to outgrow roles, dreams, identities, versions of yourself that no longer serve where you are going. You are allowed to redefine what peace means, what love means, what purpose means. You are allowed to become someone your past self wouldn't recognize, because your past self prayed for a life they didn't know how to describe. You are the continuation of every version of you, not the betrayal of them. The courage to admit you're not the same anymore is not loud. It doesn't require a dramatic gesture. It doesn't require destroying everything or proving anything. It simply requires honesty. Honesty with yourself first. It sounds like this. That used to be right for me, but it's not anymore. I used to need this. I don't now. I used to accept this, but I've learned I deserve better. I used to fear change. Now I fear what happens if I ignore it. This honesty is transformational. It's the threshold where life shifts. What people don't tell you is that becoming your new self feels at first like being lost, like walking without a map, like stepping into a room you've never been in, where the light hasn't been turned on yet. But that confusion is not a sign you're wrong. It's a sign you're free. The unknown is not emptiness. It's space. Space for something real to grow. You don't need to know who you're becoming. You only need to stop forcing yourself to be who you no longer are. Acknowledge your own evolution. Name it. Honor it. Because if you never say it out loud, you'll keep carrying the weight of an outdated identity, one that keeps you behaving, reacting, and striving in ways that no longer match your heart. And nothing exhausts the spirit more than living as an echo of your old self. The courage to admit your transformation is the doorway to your next chapter. Not a chapter defined by pressure, but by truth. Not a chapter defined by who you should be, but by who you are finally ready to be. You don't need permission from the world to evolve. You only need permission from yourself. And deep down, you've been ready for a long time. If you stayed with me until here, something in these words probably touched the place inside you that already knows you've changed, even if you haven't said it out loud yet. This second part isn't about understanding change. It's about meeting the version of you who's trying to emerge. Begin by noticing one simple thing. How does your body react to the idea of not being the same anymore? Does your chest tighten? Does your breath shorten? Does a part of you feel relief or fear? Just observe it. No judgment, just awareness. Now ask yourself softly, what part of me has changed that I haven't allowed myself to admit? Let the first truth rise, the one that's been waiting beneath your routines, beneath your habits, beneath your old roles. It doesn't need to be fully formed. Just let it show itself. Maybe you're not as tolerant as you once were. Maybe your priorities shifted. Maybe your heart doesn't want the same people, the same dreams, the same pace. Maybe you've outgrown the way you used to survive. Now think about the version of you from a year ago, or 5 years ago. The one who tried so hard to stay consistent, to stay predictable, to stay acceptable. Ask gently, what did that past version of me need that I no longer need today? Maybe it was validation. Maybe it was approval. Maybe it was belonging at any cost. Maybe it was noise to avoid silence. Maybe it was love you've now learned to give to yourself. Let that truth settle. Now shift your attention inward, toward the subtle things you've been pretending haven't changed. The way certain environments drain you now. The way you crave peace more than excitement. The way you no longer have the energy to pretend. The way you've stopped chasing what never nourished you. Ask yourself, what have I been holding on to only because it used to matter? A dream, a relationship, a version of stability, a responsibility you didn't choose, a role you outgrew but kept because others expected it. Admitting you've outgrown something is not betrayal. It's truth. Sit with that. Now consider this question. Slowly, honestly, what part of my life feels too small for who I am becoming? Not who you were, who you're becoming. Feel the tension between the old self and the emerging one. Feel the discomfort of no longer fitting into the spaces that once defined you. Feel the quiet excitement beneath the fear. Change always carries both. Now think about the ways you've forced yourself to stay the same. The scripts you repeat, the habits you maintain, the expectations you obey, even when they suffocate you. Ask gently, what am I afraid will happen if I admit I'm not the same anymore? Maybe you fear letting someone down. Maybe you fear losing stability. Maybe you fear being misunderstood. Maybe you fear stepping into a life that demands more honesty. Let the fear surface. Seeing it doesn't make it stronger. It makes it clearer. Now breathe deeply. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your jaw soften. And ask yourself, what would change if I allowed myself to be who I am now? Without apology. Imagine that version of you. The one living from truth, not habit. Notice how they move differently, how they speak differently, how they choose differently. Notice that they are not reckless. They are aligned. Now think about this. Every version of you brought you here. None of them were mistakes. They were steps, chapters, initiations. Ask gently, what part of me deserves gratitude, even if I'm outgrowing it? Maybe it's the resilient version of you. Maybe it's the hopeful version. Maybe it's the toughened version who kept you alive. Maybe it's the version who stayed strong because they had no other option. Honor them. They got you here, but they don't have to take you further. Now bring your awareness to the present moment, to the you that exists right now. Ask softly, what truth about myself have I avoided saying? Even to me. You don't need to say it out loud. Just see it internally. That's where courage begins. Not in action, but in recognition. Now imagine letting go of the pressure to be who you were before. Imagine removing the weight of old expectations from your shoulders. Imagine stepping into a new identity, not because everything is perfect, but because honesty finally feels lighter than pretending. Let that image settle. Finally, ask yourself one last question, the kind that shifts everything. What if becoming someone new is not losing myself, but finally finding myself? Let the answer move through you gently. Let the resistance soften. Let the truth land. You're not the same anymore, and that's not something to fear. It's something to honor. Because becoming who you really are is the quietest, bravest transformation you'll ever live. This video is part of a daily path, a space to breathe while everything shifts, to honor the parts of you that changed, and to see more clearly where life is inviting you next. Tomorrow brings another chapter, another reflection, another quiet pause. If it feels right, come back. We'll continue together, one day at a time. This is Form Within Mind, where calm takes shape